Hi folks, I'm Matt and welcome to My Expanded Universe, a show where I go through the entire EU in chronological order as best I know how. And Yub Nub here, well, he just sits quietly and judges me the whole time while I do it. Alright folks, well it's time to stick to the books again, and we're going to talk about the young adult book series Jedi Quest by Jude Watson. And specifically today we're going to talk about book 1, which is Way of the Apprentice. Now this stars, of course, Obi-Wan and Anakin as they and some other Jedi go to the planet Radnar, which has a toxic disaster. Now during it, something happens and the Jedi Masters and the Padawans are separated. Now the Padawans must work together to survive. And of course, as we all know, Anakin doesn't like working well with the other apprentices, especially one in particular, Ferris Olin, who is someone that we will hear about years later on in Jude Watson's third series called The Last Jedi. Now this book came out roughly a year after that Jedi Quest hard novel that we talked about last week. So for that reason, Jedi Quest was basically just a clean break. In fact, I wasn't even thinking about that hardback when I picked up the first paperback of the ongoing series. It just felt a little different. And I think it should, because it's beginning a new series there. Now, not to go into too much detail in the book, what do I think about it? Of course I think it's great. Jude Watson has already established herself as a great writer at this point, so there was no question about it. In fact, some people have even asked, why didn't Dave Wolverton write book 1, like he did in Jedi Apprentice, right? Because he wrote the first Jedi Apprentice book so it would sell, because people saw the cover, it said Dave Wolverton, and they were like, ooh, Dave Wolverton, I'll get that. And they didn't know Jude Watson, so they may have been a little, I don't know about her. And I'll be honest, it's probably the same for me, because I picked up Jedi Apprentice, the first book, going, ooh, Dave Wolverton, love Dave Wolverton. I actually asked this question to Dave Wolverton this summer. I said, were you approached to write the first book in the Jedi Quest series, or any of the books in that series? And he said no, because of the reasons I just stated. At that time, Jude Watson had established herself, and she was good to go. Scholastic had a lot of trust in her, and they should, because she did an excellent series. Now, seeing the Jedi Quest series almost kind of hurt my feelings a little bit, because I love Jedi Apprentice and I love the Qui-Gon Obi-Wan, and now we have to shift toward Obi-Wan Anakin, and I know why, because episode 2 is out now and that's what we have to focus on. We can't focus on episode 1. That happened 3 years ago in real time, so we told enough stories in that era. At least they thought that. I did not feel that way, but I agree with the decision. I think they had to go with this. And so it is a good feel. Of course, Jude Watson tries to keep that feel, but now it's Obi-Wan who is the master and Anakin his Padawan. Now I'm going to do something a little different as I review this series. I will not be going through it as a whole and then going back through and putting in all the filler stories. Remember my mistake from Jedi Apprentice a few months ago, where I actually did that. I said, I'm going to talk about the books first, and I'll just plug in the little individual short stories in between later. Of course, after I got through with the series, I just kept going. So to avoid doing that, I am going to break it down. I am going to throw every little short story and other stories that are in between the Jedi Quest series. So it's going to be just a little different. And today, all I'm going to work on is book 1. The other ones we'll work on later, but there is one other very important book that we're going to talk about next week. So I'll see you then.